Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Fly Tying with Holsinger's Fly Shop. Sticking with the streamer pattern this month. This one's a pretty cool one. I really like this one. It's a Autumn Intruder. If you would look up Autumn Intruder, it comes in different colors. This is a Sculpin version of the Autumn Intruder. I really like the looks of it. It's very easy to tie. That's why I like it too. And you know, this one will catch fish because in my area there's a lot of olive brown kind of bait fish in the water. This is a great imitation of it, so I would try this, especially if you're a central Pennsylvania guy. You know, a lot of guys like to swing headbangers and that kind of stuff. This is a smaller version of it. You're looking at about 2.5 to 3 inches. It's a great size. There's a lot of bait fish in the stream that size, and that's why I like to fish this one. So it's really easy. You need to give this one a try, and it's only a couple of materials. And it's a lot of techniques that I've showed you in the past that you're just going to bring into this. It might look big and extravagant looking at the picture of it here in a second, but it's really not that hard to tie. So here you go, here you see it, a picture of it and the material list to tie it. Okay, here's the fly in the vise. Let's get into tying it. And it's actually a really simple streamer. It's not hard to tie, and I'm sure you'll be able to get it. So let's get the hook in the vise. For a hook, we're using a Daiichi 2220, and for the bead, oh, in a size 6, sorry. The bead is a 7mm gold. Gold bead here. We're going to just put our thread on. For thread, it's 140 Denier brown. And we're just going to start that on there and cover a little bit of the hook up. Next thing I'm going to use is some olive variant black bark rabbit strip. And I'm going to cut a piece off that is the same length as my hook shank. Okay? And then at the back end, I'm going to taper it. And all that's going to do is just going to give it a little bit more freedom and movement in the back. Then we're going to bring our thread back here to right above the hook point, and that's where I'm going to tie in. I'm going to tie this rabbit strip down right above the hook point, and then I'm going to wrap it back to about right above the barb. And just make sure you keep this centered on top so it stays nice and centered there and doesn't roll over the side. Then we're going to bring our thread back up a little bit. That looks good there. And you see, that's going to keep about a 3-inch long fish, which is right around where I want it. Next material I'm going to use is some UV Polar Chenille, and I'm going to use 2 pieces. I'm going to use an olive and a brown olive, or yeah, olive brown I should say. Olive brown and olive, 2 colors. And we're just going to tie this on the hook and wrap it down here, and then I'm going to wrap up towards that cone head, and I'm just going to strip the fibers back and wind it up the hook. I find it just as easy to do this without the rotary vise, because when you use the rotary vise you tend to trap more, and it's just as easy to pull it back as I go without the rotary vise. So we're just going to keep wrapping this up until I get about an eye length behind the bead, behind the cone head, and we're going to tie it off there. Alright. I'm just going to pull those fibers back a little bit, wrap them down, and then I'm going to take my bodkin and I'm just going to make sure they're not trapped. Just pull them out, straighten them out here a little bit. Alright. And then I just like to tease them back a little bit. Get them where I want them. Next thing I'm going to do is take 2 pieces of Marabou. I'm going to take a piece of brown and a piece of olive again, okay? This is to match the Sculpin, which are those 2 colors, brown and olive. So we're going to lay those 2 pieces on top of each other. And I'm going to tie them in by the tip. Tie it in right there where I stopped. And you don't have to trim them off. You can fold them back over. They'll just palmer in here with it. And then I'm just going to palmer this stuff around and make sure I want to keep everything flowing towards the back. So as I wrap, I'm pulling this marabou backwards. And this is going to add a lot of body and a lot of movement to this fly. We're just going to make about 3 wraps up here. And then we're going to tie this off. And again, we're going to make sure we get that tied down good. And then I'm just going to take a little brush here. Brush these fibers so they stand up nice. Make sure the marabou's not trapped down. Now you can see how nice and flashy this is. That's why I like this fly. Next thing I'm going to add is just a little bit of crystal flash in a rainbow color. And I'm going to stagger it. Oops. I'm going to get about 5 or 6 pieces. Doesn't matter what color. And trim these off here. We're just going to tie these in on top. Like I said, stagger the tips so they're different lengths. And we're going to tie it in on top. And then I'm just going to bring it back over. Tie it down again. Make sure it's good and tight. And then I'm going to take and trim the rest of it off here. And I'm going to go at different lengths on that too. Okay. Oops. Now, next thing I want to do is take a piece of Mallard flank in light olive, okay? And we're going to grab it by the tip, peel the tips back. And we're going to wrap this on like hackle. So we're going to tie it down by that tip. Alright, once we get that tied on, I'm just going to make sure I push everything backwards. Get it wrapped down good. Then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to run up against the vein here on here. And try to fold everything back. So it'll wrap around a little bit better for you. Carefully don't pull too hard or you'll pull your feather out from under your wraps. Then we're just going to wrap this on. I'm going to put a fair amount of this, a good couple of wraps, so I get good coverage with it. There we go, that's pretty good. And we're going to tie it off. Try not to trap the fibers while you tie it off, extra ones. You want to be ending this up right behind that cone head, because you don't want too big of a dubbing collar here. Okay, that looks pretty good, wrapped around there nice. Now, last thing we're going to put on is a little dubbing collar. For dubbing, I'm using some SLF Prism chocolate brown. You could use Yon Simon if you had it, some peacock bronze, anything darker. Even like a dark olive would be great too. I just like a little bit darker contrast, like the chocolate brown. And I'm going to wrap this on here pretty heavy. Okay, I want to make a kind of a thick collar here. And reason being, I want it thick in material but not thick in size. You see how it's barely about the size of the cone head? I mean, a little bit less than the length of the cone head. That's what I'm looking for. This one keeps driving me nuts. There we go. And then I'm going to tie off right behind that, between the dubbing and the cone. Alright, and then we're going to take and just tease out this dubbing a little bit just to blend it all together. Thread there a little bit. Cut that off. And there you see, that is all that's to it. I want to get this back up on top where I want it here. And there you see, very easy one to tie and looks very fishy. And the right size too, that's why I like this fly so much. It's the right size. There's a lot of fish in the stream that are that size, so it'll blend right in with everything and look real natural. Alright, I told you that wasn't that hard of a fly to tie. You know, it's like I say, I like to teach techniques. By teaching techniques, you build and build and build upon those. And you can tie some really awesome flies just by adding on your techniques every time you learn something. And this one has a lot of techniques that you already know. Palmering and all that kind of palmering of the material, you know, your marabous, your mallard flank, some dubbing. So it's a simple fly, and I'm sure you're going to be able to tie it. Thanks for watching, guys. If you need the materials to tie it, like always, you can go down in the descriptions down below, and I have links to all the materials down there. And if you need to get a hold of me for some reason, if you're interested in a guide trip here this coming spring, or you want to ask me a question about one of my flies, you can contact me at holsingersflyshop@gmail.com right here. And please keep commenting on the videos. I love it when you guys comment it. Give me the thumbs up if you like this video. You know, it's just like the autumn intruder pattern, except a different color. So, you know, the big thing is, one of the big things out there is my variation, or however you want to put it. This is me taking an already great pattern. I'm not sure who tied that. I can't think of it offhand, but you know, I changed it to colors that fit my situation in my area. And that's what fly tying is all about, finding out what works for you. So give this a try, and keep following my videos, guys. I'm thankful you watch them and come back every week. So until next week, I'm Sean Holsinger.